Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. Welcome to this week's episode. I'm going to go ahead and preface this episode by saying most of the time, everything I say is off the dome. This episode is definitely that because of what the topic is. First of all, it's my birthday. Well, technically, when you see this episode, it's going to be Saturday. And maybe if you see it after. Anywho, my birthday's April 12th. It's 1 a.m. I'm here to record because I'm going out with my friends tomorrow. Whoop, whoop. And I wanted to make sure that I had an episode ready for you guys when I came home on Saturday to upload. So, yeah, if you're seeing this, that's really great. I made it home. I'm safe and sound. Everything's great. But I did want to talk about what I usually talk about for the birthday episode, which is like the things that I've learned in the past year, so this episode is different than... I won't even say what I usually post. This episode is different from, I guess, this season as a whole, because I think because I've been trying to get more listeners to listen or like more people to watch, I've been trying to talk more about like pop culture stuff, which I am interested in, is important to me, and I think is fun to talk about. But at the same time, this is still like me talking about, I still want this podcast to be like me talking about life, and for me to be able to like, it's kind of like a scrapbook, this podcast is. And like even like my videos from like high school that I used to do, my vlogs, they're kind of like little time capsules of like being able to go back and see what was going on in my life and see how things have changed and the people who are still in my life and the things that I've learned and grown and all that stuff, blah 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 blah. But yeah, so this episode is going to be a little sappy, sentimental, but I'm just going to be talking about life and the things that I've learned and what's going on and what I hope for the future and stuff like that. So if you want to stick around for that, please do. If not, well, girl, it was cool. Maybe come back next week. Okay. But yeah, 23. It's an interesting one. I think a lot about age sometimes because, you know, I don't know why. Age is such a weird thing. It's like such a weird construct, at least like the way that people talk about it, like how people have conversations about and around age. And I just think it's very interesting. Anywho, sometimes I try to like think like, do I feel old? Like, do I feel young? Like, I really try to ask myself like the week leading up to my birthday, like what's going on in my life and how do I feel about it and what are things that I want to work on and what are things that I want to grow and stuff like that. And at the beginning of the year for like my New Year's episode, I had said I definitely wanted to live outside of fear and start doing more things that make me uncomfortable because, you know, like those sappy and weird quotes and like cliche quotes are always like, oh, like, you know, like, oh, live outside of your comfort zone and the only way to grow is to be uncomfortable and all those things and step out on faith and you have to take risk. And at the same time that those are like super annoying, like cliche things, like they're the truth. Like simply put, like almost every single quote that I've heard, definitely, even if it was annoying or super cliche or very simple, like plain and simple, there's always like a little like that bit of truth to it. And so that's what I've been trying to do this year. Definitely trying to do, just say yes to things that I wouldn't typically say yes to is more so what I mean in terms of that. Not necessarily me breaking the boundaries and just like, oh, I'm going to go and do this and I'm going to do that and having like a list of goals or anything. It's more so just me taking hold of the opportunities that come in front of me, right? Okay. So definitely first things first. Where I've done that was my job, and that was more so last year, but still this year. And I'm thinking about like my life in chapters in terms of like, I'm about to lose my job soon, yes, because my program's ending and we're losing the funding. And then there's also the fact that I'm about to turn 23, or I am turning 23 today. And it's just like, what did I learn this chapter? Like, what are the key takeaways of it? And I think that I'm doing well. Like if we're doing like a beginning of the year New Year's resolution check-in, I'm definitely still I'm doing them. Like I'm doing that one. This job was definitely not something that I ever thought I would be doing. Like I don't think that anybody ever thinks that they'll be teaching sexual risk avoidance to children. I don't really know if in an after school program, I don't know if anybody ever necessarily thinks that, yep, that's my goal, that's my dream in life, that's what I'm gonna do, career path set. Maybe there is somebody out there who thinks that. Not me, but I definitely took up a bit of an interest in it when I took what class was that? when I took this sociology course about sex education, or like sex and education, or family, something about sex. I was in that class and we was in there talking about sex education and what that looks like for different states and stuff, and the importance of it and how it affects children and teens and learning about it and whatever. And I thought it was an interesting topic. Did I think that I would be actively participating in it months after graduating from that class? No. But I did it. And I was thinking this week, because for the week before my birthday, I like to think about like my life and where I'm at and am I happy, and answering those questions. Because at the end of the day, like when it comes down to my life, I'm just like, I just want to be happy. But being happy looks different. And you're not always going to be happy, obviously, but it's kind of like when people are like, oh, I just want to be successful, but somebody else's version of success might be different from mine. Somebody's version of success might be, oh, getting married and having a family, and, just making sure that their family's healthy and safe and all those things. Whereas my version of success might be, oh, my career is doing well. I'm doing the things that I love. Maybe I have a family, maybe I don't. Like, I don't really know necessarily, but those can be like the two contrasting ones. And obviously there are other versions of that. So yeah, sorry I'm saying so much. I just always feel like I need to fill the air and the space of quietness. So my apologies. I'm probably going to keep doing it, but I want you to know that I'm checking myself. I'm checking me, okay? I'm checking me. I was about to say anywho, but I stopped myself because people have been clowning me in those comments. That's besides the point. Anyways, back to what I was saying. For the week before, I like to think about the things that are going on in my life. And I was wondering, like, what is something that I've learned in the past few months in terms of, like, getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things. And like I said, I think taking on, like, unexpected opportunities is definitely a growing and learning moment. For me personally, I'm a Christian, grew up Christian, and then when I was in college, I was kind of like, I don't really, like, I had a lot of questions about God and religion and all of these things, and the thing about religion is that it doesn't always necessarily feel, or at least how I've grown up seeing it prior to a catalyst moment that happened later, it was always kind of like, it always felt like you couldn't ask questions. Like it's like, you don't question God. Like, it's not like, don't do that. And so obviously, naturally, as humans, you do that. Like, you question and you wonder, why is this happening? What's going on, or whatever. And we would talk about faith in church a lot. And as a child, I'm going to be honest, I think in theory, it's a great idea to go and make sure that children know things young and talk about their religion and everything. But at the same time, I think it's also important to encourage questions. And that even goes beyond just being a kid. Like, it's important to just ask questions in general to clarify, or honestly just to understand more. But I think being taught to not question God, or that questioning him is wrong and it's a sin and you're wrong for that, like, that's tough, because it's like, how am I supposed to really build up a relationship with somebody that I can't ask questions to? You know what I mean? And so that was an interesting time of my life. I did try to do life without believing in something, and it's not really for me. I'm not somebody who goes and pushes their religion on other people, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I feel bad for you because you don't believe XYZ. Like, it's never that for me. Whatever people want to believe in, they should believe in. Some people don't want to believe in anything, and I think that that's okay. For me to get through life, for me to know so much about the world that I know, and to constantly still be learning more and more about the atrocities that are going on, and the inequality, and all of those things, and all of the stuff that I talk about on this podcast, I have to believe in something. Otherwise, if this is it, like, if this is life, me believing that just this life is it's just not enough for me. And I was actually talking to my friend Mary about this the other day. And by the other day, I mean yesterday, because I was on the phone with her, a longtime friend of the podcast. Hi, Mary, if you're listening. And she was kind of like, yeah, she was in a class at school in college, and she was like, yeah, we actually had a talked about this topic before, that it really just doesn't do any harm to not believe in something. To believe in something. Like, yeah, it doesn't do any harm to not believe in anything, but it also doesn't do any harm in believing in something, believing in religion, in God, in the universe, in spirituality, whatever. And I was like, that is so real and something I've never really thought about. Like, sometimes I will say that I think Christianity gets a bad rap because of how some people who say they follow God and Christ and the religion, how they act or how they react to things and how they respond to other people. And I think that is so fair. I really and I think that during that time of me taking a step back from participating in religion and not having a relationship with God, I think that was definitely something that I wondered. I was kind of like, well, if this is God, like if God is what I'm seeing from these people who are so hateful and are like constantly condemning people for their actions and their thoughts and all these things, why would I want to follow that? And I feel like that's a question. Yeah, definitely a question that I've had, definitely a question that I have. I question like, why are these bad things happening in the world? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? What's going on? You said that you were always going to be there for me, and then all of these bad things are happening to me. And I think trying to bottle all of that up and just tell kids to have faith, I struggle with that. I struggle with the way sometimes with how Christianity is taught in certain churches. I struggle with people imposing their interpretations of the Bible on to other people. I struggle with all of those things. But for me, once I not left college, but I think it was like my senior year of college, like in the back half of it, and then recently post grad, I've definitely given it another shot, but not in the way of like I'm constantly leaning on other people's interpretations of things for me to have a relationship with God and for me to be a part of religion or whatever. Like, it's definitely more so I'm focusing on the relationship aspect with God, and then hoping and understanding and believing that the faith will follow, and understanding why faith is important and all of that stuff. Anywho, I don't know where that tangent came from, but yeah, that's something that I have been working on and whatever. And I said that to preface what I'm about to say. I have been asking myself what I've been learning at my job. And when I was younger, and for a couple years, I've prayed for like 2 or 3 very specific things. Not very specific, but fairly specific. And I prayed for, one, that I would have friends, because I didn't not have friends in high school. They just weren't like friends like I have friends now, which is valid because we were all teens and we were going through whatever and emotional and thinking too much and just trying to fit in and all of that stuff. So I really can't knock anybody for how they were in high school, truly. I can't knock anybody for really who they are at any point in their life, because I just want to believe that we're all growing and changing. We all have the capacity to be better and to be different and to change and evolve, because that's like the whole point of life, is to, start as something and slowly learn lessons to become something else, something that you're proud of, right? And so when I think about that, besides the point, I had friends, but they weren't like friends. Like if I was sad at home, I didn't necessarily always have somebody to turn to. Like, it was like my friends had other friends. I didn't have friends that looked like me, really. And trying to figure out where I fit in at school. Also, what I want to do with my life after high school. Do I want to go to college? School, grades, like making sure I'm meeting the expectations of, I don't even know what expectations, like making sure that I'm making my parents proud, like stuff like that. Like, again, can't knock people for who they were then, and I can't knock myself for who I am then. I think I'm definitely learning to give myself more grace, and I say that every year, and I think that every year I give myself a little bit more grace. I really used to knock myself a lot for the person that I was in high school, and I wasn't always the best friend in high school. I wasn't always the best person in high school, but again, the same way that I wouldn't judge somebody for that, for who they were then, I'm not going to judge myself too harshly on who I was then. Like, do I wish I could have been better? Do I wish I could have made different decisions? Yes. Do I wish I could have shown up for people better? Absolutely. But at the same time, I was like 15, 16, 17. Like, there's still so much more for me to learn, even from here. Like, there's more life ahead of me than there is behind me. And there's still so many opportunities for me to make mistakes and to learn lessons. Sorry. Anyways, there's more opportunities for me to learn lessons and to make mistakes and grow. And I think that that's more important to understand than it is to just go back and harp so much on the things that I messed up on and mistakes that I made. So, yeah, don't know what that was. But back to what I was saying. I used to pray for friends. That's where I was, okay? I used to pray that I would have good friends that cared about me and wanted to see, me be great and hold me accountable and all those things. And then I would pray for patience. And because I've never had the best patience, I've never had that, no. And I would also pray for that God would show me my purpose in life. And I did get the friends. I have those now. I have really great friends that I'm really happy with and really proud of. And they're good people. They hold me accountable, and I'm happy to have them in my life, and I'm happy that I get to spend time with them later today. But I'm like, wow, I have friends. So check. Like, that prayer was definitely answered. Even like friends from high school, I'm still in contact with. Like, those people have become even greater friends to me as I've gotten older. And again, we're growing and learning and remembering how we were in the past and wanting to actively be better. And I think that that's really all you need to be a great human, is to just want to actively be better than you were the day before, actively show up better than you did before, be present, all of those things. And so, I got the friends or whatever, and I had been praying for patience for still many years now. And my boss actually said something interesting to me the other day when we were talking, and I had told her about, because she had briefly mentioned one time that I have a lot of patience for the kids that we work with. And I never really thought about it. And she was kind of like, yeah, like, you have more patience than I can have with them right now. Like, I already had my kids. I can't do it. I really struggle with it. And so, I was like, oh, thanks. And so when I was thinking about it the other day, I was really thinking like, oh, like, I really have gained a lot of patience through this job. And then it clicked that I had definitely prayed for that many times before. And my boss was like, oh, yeah, something I've noticed is if you ask for something or pray for something, you kind of have to earn it. And like, it's not just like one day you wake up and you have it, which is this idea. Actually, it started with my boss just saying, when you pray for things, you have to earn them. And then I told Mary about that, and she elaborated more and was like, yeah, definitely that. But also, like, and how I had also explained it was like, it's kind of like a skill. Like, you can't just, like I said, wake up one day and have patience. Like, I thought that prayer was being answered in a different way than it was. Like, I thought my patience was, from being with our dog, who was a puppy for like the past year and was just bad, and just like getting frustrated with him sometimes and needing to have patience with him. I thought that patience was being learned through Atlanta traffic when I would commute from school and go home or whatever, and all those things. But instead, and maybe those were like small little things of that, but also my patience has grown, and that skill has grown and been tested while working at the job I have now. And so at the same time that this isn't like the best job, it's not the job that I've ever dreamed of, it's not the job that I thought I would be doing, I still got something out of it that I've wanted. And more so than that, I've also learned about other things. Like, I've learned to care more about what kids are learning. One, I've learned the importance of parenting, the importance of having that third place for kids to go that's not just school and home. I've learned about the importance of education for young kids. I've learned about like what kids are going through right now. I've learned about how poverty and being lower class and stuff like that can affect, or like lower income can affect you, like the kind of education that you get. I've learned about like the environment and the cycles of poverty. Like I've learned about a lot of things that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to understand on, I won't say like a firsthand basis, but I've been around people who are experiencing that firsthand and seeing how these kids are growing up. And I actually really like kids, kind of, sort of. Like, I don't know if it's just these kids I like. I don't really know. But I've gotten to know them, and one of them actually wrote me a thank you card the other day. And like I said, I'm a sexual risk avoidance teacher, so I teach in abstinence education only, which is an eye roll because I don't agree with abstinence education. I think we should go for more of a comprehensive or inclusive sex education, more of a well-rounded thing that doesn't explicitly force abstinence on children. Obviously, I know that there's like ages of consent and stuff. That's not the point. I've talked about that in a past episode where we're skipping that right now. This is not that. Well, that's a topic for another day. But I teach that, and so one of the girls had like written me a thank you card and was like, "Oh, like Miss Tori, thank you so much for teaching us about sex and stuff, I guess." And I was like, out of context, that sounds absolutely terrible. It really does. It really does. But it's what I get paid to do, first of all. And when I get paid to do that, it is abstinence only. So let's get that straight. But it made me giggle. But at the same time, she tried to keep me humble in the letter. She was like, thanks for that. But also, you're kind of funny sometimes. Like, you have a good joke here and there, trying to keep me humble. And I appreciate that. But it's nice to know that not only have these kids impacted my life and like taught me things and shown me the importance of the youth in this country and their education and youth development, they've also like gotten something from me. Like, I've been able to add to some part of their day. And my boss had actually told me earlier on, because I was like, I feel like I should be doing more. I wish I was able to do more. And she was kind of like, sometimes just showing up is enough. And this is definitely one of those times when apparently when it felt like I could have been doing more and I should have been doing more, me just showing up was enough. Like, me just being a consistent part of their life almost every day. And, maybe making them laugh or asking them how their day was and making sure that they know that like their day is important and what they're learning in school is important and I want to know about it, and that there's somebody in their life who wants to know about what they're learning at school and how their life is going, and like kind of talking them through like emotions and all of that. And it's honestly been really nice and really great, and I would have never experienced that had I not taken this job, because it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, and because it wasn't full-time and it wasn't a corporate job and it wasn't what I went to school for. Like, good things can again come from the things that you aren't expecting and the opportunities that you aren't expecting. So definitely will be continuing to do the whole being uncomfortable and the growth thing, because that's been really great for me, and I'm really happy with what things are looking like for me right now. And the uncomfortable stuff, moreover, I don't really know if this counts because I've been doing like internet content stuff for a very long time now. I don't really know if it's even like being uncomfortable. I think that I'm really just trying to, I think there was a pivotal point, and I don't know if I'm still working on that or if it's like a completed task, or I don't know if it's ever a completed task, but not associating my productivity with my worth in terms of like, I actually saw a TikTok of a content creator who was actually really popular on YouTube. His name's the King of Weird on TikTok, and he followed me like when I had this viral TikTok about Roe v. Wade like 2 years ago. And sometimes he'll still go and like some of my stuff if it comes up on his page or whatever. But I saw a TikTok of him today, and he was talking about AI and how it's about to impact content creation and creating digital influencers and stuff like that, and how it's going to affect, the artistic jobs in the world, or really even how AI is going to impact everybody's job in the world. And he kind of really stressed the importance of taking a step back and not being so interconnected or like interlinked with like your worth, and thinking that like views and likes and engagement and analytics are the thing that make you worthy, or like the thing that make you great. Like making sure that it's in, like, he was really just saying like it's important to take a step back and realize that you're not that, and just because, and thinking, he actually said something really interesting. It was like something like, stop thinking that if I work harder it'll make them love me more. And I was like, and it's not like it felt profound. It really did. It didn't sound profound, but it felt profound, because that is something that I think a lot of content creators struggle with. And even, I won't say that I'm at that same like level or point of like being addicted to creating content, because there are moments when I'm like, I don't feel like it, and so I don't. And there are moments when like I've made content for like on TikTok for at least like 2 or 3 years, and it just went nowhere. And now I'm kind of hitting like a stride a little bit of more videos doing better than they do not doing good. And while I'm happy about that, and it feels like I have to just be constantly chasing that, at the same time, I am happy that I have like, that doesn't pay me. Like at the end of the day, like making content doesn't pay me. Like I have an actual job for now. And even if it does start paying me, I still want to have a regular job or something else that I'm doing outside of that, because I don't want to get caught up in thinking that that's my source of income. Like that's the only way that I can live my life, and that I can satisfy my needs or meet my needs or whatever. And I just thought that was really interesting and really important for me to hear, and a really important reminder, because it is really easy to get caught up in, oh, because I'm not gonna lie, even though I don't associate my value with like my views, I do check them a lot. Like I do it a lot. A lot of times I'll be on TikTok and I'm not even on TikTok. I'm just refreshing the page to see how many views, how many comments, how many likes or whatever. And that is the part that is addicting. It is. And even like I'll do it on YouTube Studios. Like I'll go and like be refreshing, see how many like comments I got, see how many likes, how many views I got. And I am actively trying to step away from that. And in doing that, stepping away, I got a bike, okay? My boss gave me a free bike, okay? And it's actually, my dad and I will be putting the new brake pads on that. And I'm hoping to just start doing more things that bring me joy, and making sure that I'm making time for that, because I don't think that I make enough time for that stuff. I think that sometimes I really get carried away with coming on here and making podcasts, coming on the internet and making TikToks and all that stuff. And that's great. And it's fun. At the same time, though, because I don't link my value to those things, or I try not to, I do my best to not, sometimes it's tough, because there are other things that I enjoy doing that I don't do and I don't make time for, because it's not giving me instant gratification. Like I like to paint. I don't paint often because I'm not actively thinking about making time for that. For the first time in maybe 3-4 months, picked up my guitar like yesterday or like 2 days ago. And I didn't even really play that much. I kind of just touched it and fiddled around a little bit. But I don't make time for that stuff. I'm afraid of it. Like I'm actively afraid of like doing the things that I love sometimes, because it's not perfect. And that's something to work on. That's something that I would love to work on this year. And I hope that it gets better, because I am very passionate about music, and I love to sing, and I love to write, and I want to do more of those things. And honestly, when I went and posted like videos of me singing my songs or whatever on TikTok, those videos do really well. Like I don't have to like fiend hard. Like I don't have to work hard for those views or whatever. And I don't know, like this is where it's tough a bit, because it's like I have this purpose in my life that I know is my purpose, and then it's like I am actively not doing it, and I'm upset with myself. But at the same time, like I said, like I just feel so uncomfortable being like not being confident in a skill or something that I love, and so I don't do it. Like I'm slightly insecure about like writing, and whether or not it's good, or whether or not other people think it's going to be good, and whether or not I think it's good, because I'm highly critical of myself when it comes to that, or wanting to be great at something. And I want to be great at that because I want to be good, and I want people to like it, and I want people to feel like relate to it and stuff like that. And at the same time, like wanting all of those things is the part that makes me scared. This the part that makes me nervous, the part that makes me not do it, because it's not going to be perfect, and trying to step away actively from those thoughts and just be in the moment and do them, because it's the stuff that I love to do. So yeah, like I said, a lot of work to be done. Anywho, somebody about to clock my tea on that. Anywho, but yeah, there's other topics and stuff, but that is what I'm doing. That's what I took from 23 right now, actively at this moment, or my 22 years or whatever. And I'm excited for for what I'm going to learn for the rest of the year. I'm excited for what 23 is going to teach me. I'm sure it's going to be even crazier and wilder. I'm just really just waiting for that frontal lobe to completely develop. I think that a lot of things in my life, I'm just ready for things to stop feeling like the end of the world. Like things don't feel like the end of the world the way that they did when I was like 15 or 16 or even 19 or 20. But things do still feel a little rambunctious in my mind. And so I'm hoping to step away from that. Also, I've really been doing a good job as to not falling into that limerence trap. And if you don't know what limerence is, it's basically just kind of having like an obsessive crush a little bit. And I've really been clocking me. I've been holding myself accountable. I'm really becoming a mature adult. Like low key, I'm maturing. Like I'm an adult. Like I'm a big girl now. I have bills, okay? I have a credit card bill and I got loans to pay back. I'm real. I really want to be a homeowner. I think I want to put that out in the universe. I want to be a homeowner soon. Anyways, and I hope to have a great job that I love. Sidebar. Anyways, but yeah, for my birthday today, I don't know if I talked about it in this version of it, because I've recorded this episode like 7 times already, so I don't really know exactly what made it in. But I'm going, and for my 23rd birthday, I'm approaching it a bit differently, because birthdays never really feel too special, and I just want to fill the day with things that I enjoy doing. So I'm going to breakfast with my sister and my mom tomorrow and spending time with them, and then I'm going to go to work, do the thing that, which the job is actually low-key kind of fulfilling, but if I can just look at the bright side of that instead of being anti, it should be okay. I also think that I've been doing a really great job at being more present and not getting stuck in my thoughts all the time, and just trying my best to actively think less. That's been really great. But yeah, I'm going to spend time. Today is really just about me spending time with the people that I love, and that's really just it. So going to hang out with my mom and sister, then going to work. Hopefully we'll be feeling like fulfillment from my job today, and hopefully just hanging out, having a good time. And then, I'm going to see my coworkers. They're fun. And I'm just ready to feel the love today, honestly. I just want to feel the love, take it all in, show gratitude, be grateful. And then after work, I'm going to go to hang out with my friends, and we're going to play Phase 10, which is our game for the group. I love playing Phase 10 with my friends. Like, Phase 10 is like the way that I bring people together. It's my favorite thing. I love it. And Phase 10 is going to be really great, and I'm really excited because I actually taught the kids in the program that I work at how to play. And so we had been playing, but then they weren't focused, so we had to quit. And I don't be playing. I get competitive. Also, I won the first round of Phase 10 that I played with my friends this year, and I'm really proud of myself because usually I give sore loser, And I think that's just an Aries in me. Like, I'm a challenger. Like, I'm a compete. I'm a competitor. But I didn't give sore loser the other day when I won, and I'm really proud of myself, and I'm taking the cards back again, and we're gonna play. And I'm really just excited to spend time with my friends. It's not necessarily so much, because I've talked about I don't like drinking. It's not fun for me. But I am excited again to just go out and hopefully be drunk enough to where I'm not thinking about what's going on too hard and can just enjoy the day. And again, just to be around my friends and be with them, because I just love being around the people I love. Like, I can't express how like grateful I am for the people in my life, and honestly really grateful for the people who listen to this podcast. Somebody did try to roast me the other day, and they were in my comments and they were like, oh, like, you must be so proud of yourself because you have 44 views. And I don't know if I said this on like 2 episodes ago, but they were like, oh, you must be so proud of yourself because you got 44 views. Like, that's so boring, lame, whack, you're a loser, nobody cares. And I was honestly like, girl, I'm proud of my little 44 views. Like, girl, there was a point when it was 10. There have been points when it was 13. There's been points when it was 8. There were points when only 2 people were watching videos that I posted. Like, there was only time when there was only 15 people watching. Yeah, I'm proud of my little 44 views or whatever. Like, that's not about to hurt my feelings for real. Like, I'll talk to myself for years if it takes that. But I'm proud of the work that I do. I'm proud of the things that I do, and I'm really grateful for the people who listen to these episodes and who want to see me be great and do good things and are trying to learn and have conversations and build community with me. Like, yeah, why would I not be proud of that? I've worked on doing that for many years, and I'm starting to see some of the fruits of my labor. So if it comes in 44 views, it comes in 4, who gives a fuck? I'm here and I'm excited. But yeah, I am grateful for you guys. I did want to say that. I did. Thank you so much for listening. So like and subscribe. Follow me on whatever you're listening to this on, or watching me on, so that you can know when new episodes are coming out. But yeah, there's that. There was something else I wanted to say. What was it? I be telling y'all this is off the dome. I be losing track. I don't really remember. Anyways, there was actually something I did want to talk about, which is like such a slight, which is so vastly off topic. Actually, no. My friend and I told you guys I was going to have a bonus episode of the podcast, and I did record the episode. I recorded it on Wednesday, actually, and I was super excited because I really enjoy having my friend Paige on, because her friendship is so different than other friendships that I've experienced, and it's always a learning opportunity. It's always super fun. She's definitely a friend that holds me accountable for the things that I do and the things that I say and for my patterns of behavior. And I think that it's important to have friends that are going to like be straight up with you and say, hey, you really fucked up on that one. What you feel about the situation is valid. However, you shouldn't have reacted like that. You maybe should have done this, and are more constructive. I think it's super important to have people in your life like that. And she's definitely somebody like that. She challenges me emotionally, intellectually, and I was really excited to have her on. And she got nervous for me to post the episode yesterday because she had gone through some of my YouTube comments, and they haven't been the best lately, which is fair. It's so fair. And she was like, yeah, can we just hold off on posting it for now? And I was like, honestly, yes. So I didn't want you guys to think I lied and was like, guys, like, there's going to be a bonus episode, and there really was going to be. It's just my friend got cold feet walking down the aisle to post, and I feel like that's okay. Like, sometimes you get cold feet. And to the girls out there who are getting married, honestly, and because it's been a lot of people getting engaged on my timeline that I went to high school with and I went to middle school with and stuff. And to you, I do want to say congratulations. It's really been interesting to see how many people are getting married, though. I didn't know that there were that many people interested in that route to life. For me personally, like I said, congrats to y'all. And next thought, I'm going to need that whole frontal lobe developed before I'm saying I do. Yeah, I'm going to need that. I'm gonna need that, because what if my frontal lobe develops and then I'm like, I hate this bitch. Then what? It's crickets. Now I'm at the divorce attorney's office looking crazy. I need my frontal lobe fully developed before I'm hitting the I do's and I'm signing those papers. I'm going to need that. So don't expect a marriage from me until 25. And I'm not going to lie, we are creeping up. We are creeping up, considering today I'm turning 23. We're creeping up on that 25. But you know what? Honestly, if it happens at like 30, no beef, no shade. You know what I'm saying? Did I get a chance to live my life and be 20? Well, yes. I don't think that you have to be in a relationship or married or engaged or whatever to be living a good, fulfilled, happy life, you know? Yeah. Hard stop. End topic. Next topic. Instagram stories. I need to know where we're at on that. Okay? I need to know where we're at. Okay, so really, I guess my question is, when you go on Instagram, right? And this is just me. When Instagram stories first got like added, I wasn't really like, people weren't really like, if they were like a close friend, maybe they'd like a story here and there. You know what I'm saying? And then like, I go on TikTok or like Twitter or something, and people are like, oh yeah, if you like my story, like, I know. And I'm like, girl, well, what do you know? Like, what does liking an Instagram story say? Like, is liking an Instagram story the same level as like how we used to like viewing? Like, oh, like the first 5 minutes I go and check and see, oh, they watch my story, they look in, they like me, they really like me. Is that like the equivalent to that? Or, because I've had different conversations with people, there are people who think Instagram likes are like, oh, super serious, like, oh, like they want me. There are people out there who think Instagram stories are like, they want me bad. And then there are people out there who think Instagram story likes are like, oh, I just be liking anything I see. I'll just go through and like everybody's Instagram story. Like, where are we at? Like, I think I might do a poll. I need to know where we're at on this, because I want to know what messages I'm sending before I hit like, because I be liking some people's stories. Like, I like a celebrity story, but like, or maybe like an influencer story, but like, am I liking my friend's story who I'm not really friends with no more? What are the rules there? Get in the comments. What are the rules on the Instagram stories? Also, while we're talking about Instagram, are people using Threads? I'm seeing Threads on my Instagram page, but I'm not going to Threads. Like, the app's on the phone, but I couldn't tell you the last time I tapped into Threads on purpose. Like, I've tapped into a thread trying to see more from an Instagram, but I've never just been like, oh, I need to go and see what people are saying on Instagram Threads. Very unserious. And I really thought that was about to be the next, like, I didn't think it was going to be the next Twitter, but like, I thought it was going to be giving Twitter vibes. But then, like, the people definitely had that theory about like, you know, you can't just go on Threads and like say stuff with your chest the same way that you can like on Twitter. Like, on Twitter, you can have like a little burner account. You can say what you mean. But at the same time, that's kind of the problem with the internet, isn't it? Like, because you can go on the internet and people who leave like hate comments. If I was actually reading an article about this because I needed to know more about hate comments because I was receiving them at the time. And they were kind of talking about how the internet is really just a place where you can like get your frustrations out from the day and put those and project those onto people that you don't know who like disagree with your opinion or whatever. But also, it's like, the thing about Twitter that makes Twitter so great is like the anonymity of it. Like, to a certain degree, like popular accounts for the most part aren't linked to an actual person. It's just, it's kind of like they spill tea here and there, or like they talk about things here and there, and like people can go viral for stuff or not. And obviously there are people who are popular on there who have their face and don't mind sharing, like putting a face to an opinion. But the whole thing about the internet, for the most part, outside of like people who aren't afraid to have like their opinions attached to their profile, is that like you can say whatever you want and kind of get away with it. Like outside of like threats and like government related stuff, like for the most part you can get away with saying anything you want to anybody on the internet and not have to deal with the consequences of that. And I think that lately, and especially over the past few years, the consequences have started to match the crimes. Like if you did blackface on video and the girl, we done seen that backpack you had, and that backpack is actually linked to a picture you had on your Instagram back in December, and so now we know who you are and you're losing your job. Like that's I think we're seeing the consequence of that, even like when it comes down to like fighting and stuff, or like I said, like even like crazy stuff that you see on the internet, like the stuff, like people are definitely feeling the consequences of even like them thinking that they're anonymous. They're feeling the weight of the things that they say on the internet in real life and in real time. And I think that I'm wondering if it's a necessary evil, because I do think that people should feel a lot more shame for some of the things that they say on the internet. Because actually, and this is a great time to talk about this, the Leo Skepi stuff and fat phobia and Fannita and Drew, they talked about that, and I thought it was interesting because if you're not like up to date on it, go on TikTok and then like type in like Leo Skepi and Fannita, and I'm sure the video will pop up. Well, he actually deleted his original video and he made an apology or whatever, and the two friends or colleagues that he has, they responded to his video or whatever, people asking them about their thoughts on it. So basically the rundown is Leo Skepi, he's a content creator on TikTok, and he was talking about, well, initially Fannita, who's a black woman, she recently got like a gastric sleeve, I think, and she's been working out and losing weight, and she's been talking about how differently she's been getting treated now that she's losing weight and she's not and she's like slimmer and smaller than she was before. And so she went on the internet and she was talking about how a lot of companies they just make ugly plus size clothes. Like they don't make things that are flattering or things that like make plus size women or people feel good in their bodies. Like they make ugly stuff for them. And or like with like stuff that's like just terrible patterns and stuff. Those are her words. I don't want people to think that I'm just out here saying that plus size clothing is ugly. I think there actually are increasing plus sized options. I'm not going to say that there's a bunch of them, because there's not. I don't think that brands typically try to or make the effort to make size inclusive clothing. Like I'm not that, because that me saying that would be a lie. Like I don't think a lot of companies make the effort to do that. But yeah, she was talking about that. And so then Leo had gone and made a video talking about how brands don't have to make brand inclusive stuff. And I don't know. I don't know if he was saying that they shouldn't want to, like, or like people shouldn't want them to, because like if that brand's not for you, they're not for you or whatever. But he ended up saying things that were it just wasn't really. He was talking about how plus size bodies aren't good bodies or whatever, and it was a lot. There was a lot to unpack there. And then he ended up making an apology video talking about that. And a lot of people were in his comments asking, like adding Fannita and adding Drew. And they were like, hey, like come get your friend. Like you guys are always talking about being against fat phobia and people who are fat phobic. And you need to check your friend. Like, what do you guys think about this? What are you guys going to say about this? And so they both ended up making responses saying that like, you guys know that I'm against that. They were all both speaking for themselves. Like you guys know that I'm against those thoughts and everything and that ideology, and you shouldn't be bringing me into this. So you already know that I'm against fat phobia, and so you know what my response to this is, like what he said was messed up or whatever and all that. And so they both responded basically saying that, and they also said that women of color shouldn't have to like stop going to women of color to fight this battle when you already know where we stand on issues. And I thought that was fair. I thought that was very fair, like very valid. And then I was talking to my friend Paige, who we were talking about this topic on that episode, and she ended up saying, I totally understand what they're saying. Women of color should not have to always be the ones to come and stand up for stuff and to speak on things, and they shouldn't be expected to, which is so real. At the same time, they have, and what I've seen other people on social media say is that they've built platforms on calling people out for those things, especially Drew. And I was like, these are fair takes on this. Like, this is so fair. I don't have skin in the game on this. I think that what he said was really fucked up. Fat phobia is obviously not okay. But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that as an influencer, or as people who want to create content, want to have like build community and want to create on the internet and gain a following and want to be a celebrity or whatever, I think it's important that you know that you don't have to answer everything. You don't have to talk about everything. You don't have to have an opinion about everything. And if you do, just because you're prompted through a question, you don't have to answer. Sabrina Carpenter, when she got asked about she was in like a scandal because she had done a music video for Feather, this song that she released on her deluxe version of her most recent album, Even As I Can't Send. She had done that video in a church, a Catholic church, and people were like being like that was inappropriate, and she was getting a lot of like pushback on that. And so when somebody asked her on the red carpet about it, she did not respond, and then she like left. And I thought, obviously genius, but everybody, if you don't have to like answer everybody's questions. Like, you don't have to have an opinion about everything. Like, or you can literally just say, oh, I'm not informed enough on this topic to, share my opinion, but when I am, I sure, I'll talk about it maybe if I feel like it. But you don't have to talk about everything. Like, you don't have to, again, have an opinion about everything. And I think this is where like manners come into play also. I think the pandemic really set us back when it comes to like social interactions with people and how to treat people and how to talk to them. And even like I said, on the internet, having more shame, not like telling everybody everything that you're thinking and not tweeting everything that you think. There are moments where I'm like, oh, I got a good tweet, and then I go and type it out and I'm like, that actually doesn't need to see the light of day. Like, if anything, that thought needs to be kept to myself. There are just certain times when, if you're on the internet, like, if you just stop, take a second, take a beat, and think about like, oh, what could the potential outcome for this post be? And it's not good, or it's mostly not good, don't post it. Like, it's okay to not post things. Like, the other day, I think I wanted to post something about something. I don't really remember exactly what it was, but I was like, I'm not going to post that, actually. And even when it comes down to the Jojo Siwa stuff, I understand what people are saying, and I see where they're coming from about the Colleen stuff and her supporting her, and I see what they're saying about the show that she did with the dance kids. I have no clue what's going on there, but I heard the allegations, and they're real and valid, and they're concerning. At the same time, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about how, well, actually, I've only seen like one or two people talk about how Jojo Siwa should not be getting so much of the hate that she is getting. Like, for me personally, I don't think me going and saying what JoJo has going on in the media right now, or what she's doing with her music, and a lot of people are saying that it's over the top and she's weird, and they're asking like, is there something wrong with her? Like, is this like a breakdown that she's having? And I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't critical a little bit of her rebranding. I thought that, if anything, I made a video about Jojo Siwa, but I was coming at it more of like here's what we could have done for the rebrand. You know what I'm saying? Giving more constructive tips than I was like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, this girl is super weird for this, because who am I to sit here and say that something's weird? Like, who am I to sit and like say what's normal, what's not normal? Like, I can't do that. That has nothing to do with me. Like, I can't say I'm normal. So what do I look like being like, oh, she needs to be more normal? Is this a breakdown? Da, 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 da. Like, she's like early 20s. Maybe, I think she's early 20s. I really don't know that girl's age for real. But what's wrong with her, like, trying something new? Like, it may not be in the way that we would do it. It may not be, Like, it may be unconventional, but who am I to sit here and be like, oh, the girl's weird because XYZ? That has actively nothing to do with me. Like, if this is what she's doing, this is the era that she's in, okay, girl. And honestly, props to her PR team, props to her manager or whatever. They have the public talking. Like, JoJo has done exactly what JoJo needed to do. She talked about in the Call Her Daddy podcast, which I didn't watch. I just saw a couple clips from it because I told y'all I'm not giving that lady Alex Cooper in my views. I'm not her target audience, but she's done a really great job of having good guests on. And I think what Alex Cooper has done for the Call Her Daddy podcast has been really great. She has been getting, like I said, some interesting guests. I've watched maybe 2 of them and they've been good. And I think I'm going to watch the Megan Fox one. Again, I don't want to give that lady no likes or any views because I'm not her target audience. And yeah, but I don't love her interviewing skills, but she's elevated the game. Like, she's revolutionized podcasting in a way, and I think that what she's doing, like I said, as a woman is really great. Anywho, I'm sorry I said anywho. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, in the Call Her Daddy podcast, JoJo was like, I'm just playing up to the character. Like, I'm doing what is expected of JoJo. And I think that her referring to herself as that is interesting because I think that to a certain degree there is a public, like, there is a way that personalities have to, like, internet personalities, celebrity personalities have to act. Like, there's a certain, like, way that you've been seen and you kind of have to play up to that character. Obviously, I don't think that, for the most part, I don't think that any artist, any actor, any singer, any whatever, any whoever is, like, influencer is exactly the same person that they are when they show up on the camera. Like, I highly, like, there are some people who it does feel authentic, and I'm not saying that people aren't authentic, but I think that obviously you wouldn't share and can't ever share every 100% part of you on the internet that there is of you. Like, you guys see the podcast version of me. TikTok sees, oh, the funny, haha, tee-hee-hee, slightly, like, political thinking. I love women's basketball. I love sports. I love talking about basketball. Like, they see that version of me. My friends see a different version of me. My family sees a different version of me. My friends see a different version of me. Like, I see a different version of me. Like, different versions of you exist at the same time. Like I said, like, these characters are, like, not these characters, these celebrities are kind of playing up to the version of them that you have in your mind, or they're playing up to the version of them that they want you to have in your mind. And so JoJo has done a really great job of doing that. Like, even, like, word of mouth in marketing classes, you talk about this all the time. The best promotion, word of mouth is the best version of promotion for stuff because you don't have to pay for it. And all JoJo has to do is go on camera at a red carpet and somebody asks her a question and she gives a quirky answer, or she gives an answer about how she has her kids' names tattooed on her, and then people go on the internet and talk about it. She's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing. She is advertising the product. She's marketing the product, and people are talking about it and they're getting her the views. And people, even if they hate watched that Karma video and that song, they still watched it. They're still talking about it. She's getting engagement from that. She's doing everything right. And I think that people are really just overcritical of women. Like, I've talked about this before, and actually somebody told me that I'm being the victim by talking about this, which is really funny to me. But women are critical. Like, women are oftentimes over criticized, but even so, like I said, like, just because this isn't something that you're doing or that you didn't do when you were in your 20s, and this isn't something like a mindset that you had, doesn't mean that that's not a real experience for her. Doesn't mean it doesn't. And I don't think that we should be discounting that experience because it's not the one that we've had. At the same time, I don't think that we should be judging her so harshly on that. Like, she's just 20. Like, people do stuff like in their 20s. Like, they change their minds as they get older. Like, people are always constantly growing and evolving, and to expect her to just have it all figured out right now and to be giving only the right answers, that's That's a tall task to ask somebody who's in their early 20s. Like, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that anything is or isn't normal, because who am I to decide what is and isn't normal? But at the same time, I don't think that she should be receiving so much backlash for it. Like, some of it is like, haha, he. But at the same time, this is where like that gray area is. I think that people should talk about stuff they want to talk about. People should have opinions about stuff. I come on here and talk about my opinions about pop culture stuff, about celebrities, about what people have done. I talk about that. At the same time, though, I think there's a way to be constructive about celebrities and influencers and their actions without being so nasty to the point of like, if this person saw it, what would they say? Like, if you have good intentions, great, and somebody's feelings get hurt, well, that wasn't your intention. At least that's how I think of it. It wasn't your intention to hurt that person's feelings, but if their feelings got hurt, like, there's kind of low-key nothing you could have done about that. Like, you said what you said. Like, if you stood on it, you stood on it. But again, I think it's just a really great area of like, I understand why she's getting the hate. It's not conventional. At the same time, though, who am I to say what's normal? I can't judge that girl for what she's going through, because I have no clue what she's going through in her life. I don't know what her journey looks like. I don't know. Like, and so I am critical and constructive on her rebranding and how it could have gone a little bit smoother, and how the transition from like, oh, I'm a kid singer to I'm trying to be more adult. I think that could have been a cleaner transition, and I have tips about that, and I've talked about that. But I'm not going to go and say that the girl is crazy and having a mental breakdown and all these things, because if she saw that, if I saw somebody talking about me like that, I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know if my feelings would be hurt, but I would be like, what's wrong? Like, maybe she doesn't think there's anything wrong with what she's thinking. Maybe there isn't anything wrong with what she's thinking. It's just what she's thinking. Like, people are getting married right now and having kids. They're 22, 23, 20. People have kids at younger ages than that. And I mean, again, I can't really knock it. Like, she's in the news and she's getting the engagement and the following that she wants, and the people who like her and are supporting her are doing that. And then I just think that she's being harshly and overly criticized at this time. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I didn't expect this episode to be this long. Let me make sure that I hit all of my topics, because I do want to start with a clean slate next week. I actually do have a fun topic for next week. It's going to be about like what makes a pop star, and I really want to talk about that. Oh yeah. I was going to talk about this other thing, but I don't really feel like it. We're already at an hour and 2 minutes, and it's like 2:18 a.m. So I'm definitely going to pack it up for the night. But next week is going to definitely be fun. It's not going to be about life and that sappy stuff. But this was really fun for me. I really appreciate you guys again listening and following me along on my little journey as I'm becoming a responsible adult, mature adult, whatever. And I really appreciate the support. So if you guys want to get in the comments and talk about stuff that I talked about today, I will try my best to get back to them. I do have some comments on the last video to respond back to, because I was slacking this week. And yeah, so make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment. I'm gonna put a poll on Spotify and those things for the poll thing that I asked. But yeah, I think this is really cool, really great, and I'm excited for next week. It's going to be awesome, hopefully. Well, if you didn't like this episode, try again next week. All of my social media stuff is linked in the description below, or it's linked in the description of this episode. And if you can't find me anywhere, just go on TikTok, type in Typical Tori, and a black girl will pop up, and that's me. And you can follow me there, and you can find my link tree and other ways to contact, or not contact, because never mind. But you can find other platforms to follow me on and see what I'm yapping about on the internet. So I'll see you guys next week. This was really real, and I hope you guys stay safe. Go out and have a good time, live a good life, do good things, have conversations, do things that make you uncomfortable. We're all just here to learn, grow, figure out what makes us happy, enjoy life. So I'm gonna see you guys next week. Bye.